Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for purchasing my sprayer nozzle assembly that works with a Strom battery powered sprayer. So this is a new version of my nozzle assembly, and we changed it up a little bit for two reasons really. One, to make it easier for you to use, and number two, to make it cheaper. Now I often get this comment or this email is, hey, I got my sprayer but I haven't got my nozzle yet. Or I got my nozzle assembly and haven't got my sprayer yet. Well, there's a reason for that. Me and my kids and my wife build the nozzle assemblies by hand, and we ship them from North Carolina. Your sprayer ships from Florida, so they may not arrive at the same time. Just be patient. Both of them will get to you soon enough. So when you get your package, you should have a sticker in it, maybe a packing slip, and you'll have two nozzles. One is a wide spray nozzle, that's the one with the green cap on it, and then you'll have a trim nozzle or more narrow spray nozzle. That's the one with the red cap on it. Now, one of the biggest changes I made is the way it connects to the end of your wand. Before, you would leave the nozzle assembly attached and change out the cap. Well, now both nozzles have the ability to connect to the wand, so it's super fast now. It's way faster than before. You just pop one in, pop the other one out. So it's quite simple. You simply pull this back, put it in, and you're ready to go. Now, before you do anything, I want to make sure that your battery is fully charged. You just want to, after you charge it, you want to open this little door right here. You're ready to go. Now, my favorite thing about the Strom is it has two different pressure settings. It has a high pressure and a low pressure. That's going to be real important because you are going to switch between the two as you switch between the wide nozzle, which is going to run on the high pressure, and the trim nozzle, which is going to run on the low pressure. Now, you'll find that switch over here on the side of the sprayer to be on your left side, down low. When you put it in the up position, that's the high pressure. When you put it in the down position, that's the low pressure. It makes a considerably different sound, so that noise will help you know. And plus, you just know when it's up, it's high, down, it's low. Now, when you use the green cap with the wide spray tip, you'll always use high pressure. When you use the red cap and the trim tip, you'll always use low pressure. It's going to be super important that when you go back and forth between nozzles that you adjust that pressure over here on the side. So with the wide spray tip, you're going to get right at 8 feet. You'll get a good solid 8-foot wide pattern, and then on the outer edges of that 8 foot, you'll find some finer droplets, okay? We're going to consider that overlap. It's about 6 inches roughly on each side. Now, a good rule of thumb is whether you're using the wide spray tip or the trim tip, you're going to want the nozzle about 16 inches from the ground. Now, since this is a pressure washer style quick connect, the nozzle will spin some. When it's locked in tight, it's not likely to move, but if you bump it or hit it, it'll move. When you orientate it, you always want the wide fan tip. It'll spray left, it'll spray right, and spray out in front of you. If it gets twisted to where it's spraying a little bit further back, you simply reach down and adjust it to straighten it up. The same thing goes with the trim tip. When I'm holding the trim tip here and I'm spraying, it's going to spray a fan pattern to your right and a fan pattern to your left. You do not want the trim tip spraying this way. The trim tip will always spray this way, side to side. Now, the Strom comes with this little holder right here that your wand fits in this groove right here to hold your wand. And it's got these other two little compartments, and whatever nozzle assembly you're not using, you can store it right there. Once you got a full battery charge, let's start with the wide spray tip. Go ahead and fill up the sprayer with water. Prime it by simply pulling the trigger. I want you to hold it about 16 inches off the ground and spray for about 30 seconds. Now you can see I'm at 8 foot wide, and you can see out here where it's dried now. I wasn't fast enough to get my tape measure, but you can see where there was some little fine droplets out here. We're not really worried about that. Again, that's overlap. But here's my 8 foot pattern, and you see how it sprays out front of you. Now let's talk about calibration for a minute. Okay, it's a measurement basically, and what we're doing is we're going to tell our sprayer how much liquid we want to apply to a certain area. And in this case, we're talking about 1,000 square foot. In the lawn care industry, all of your products, herbicides, fungicides, biostimulants, on the label, you'll find there's a recommended amount per 1,000 square feet. It's kind of the industry standard to kind of keep everything flowing along the same lines. Now in this case with the Strom, we're going to tell it that we want it to spray at 64 ounces per 1,000 square feet. That's 2 quarts. So there's 4 quarts in 1 gallon. We have a 4-gallon sprayer. So that means there's 8 2 quarts or 8 64 ounces in this 4 gallons. So we can cover 8,000 square foot with 1 fill up. Now inside that 64 ounces that we're going to put over 1,000 square feet, you have to include your products in that. So for example, let's say we're spraying 10 ounces of Green Punch 1801. Okay, we would only have 54 ounces of water and 10 ounces of the Green Punch. That equals 64 ounces. The water is basically a carrier, meaning it's going to help you carry the product out on your yard and apply it. Typically with most of these herbicides and fungicides and fertilizers or whatever, you don't want to spray the concentrate on your turf. It has to have some water blended in it for many reasons. Now when you bought the sprayer, you got an email confirmation. In that email, you found the link to this video you're watching, and there's a PDF guide in there that you can download, and it goes into more detail or the same detail as this video does, step by step, from start to finish. Now let's start with the wide tip. Remember that has the green cap on it, and we need to find out how long it takes to spray 64 ounces. The easiest way to do that is I'm going to take my measuring cup. This is pretty cool. I've got a GCI Turf Academy measuring cup now. I'm quite proud to have my logo on a measuring cup. It's quite humbling, and it's pretty much a dream of mine. So pretty cool cup. Now you'll need a stopwatch for this, and in this case I'm just going to use my phone because it has a stopwatch on it. We're going to start with the wide spray nozzle, which is the green cap. Just make sure you're on high, which is in the up position. So I want you to take your stopwatch and simultaneously start the stopwatch and the sprayer at the same time. Alright, so we hit 64 ounces at 45 seconds. Remember that number. Now we're going to switch to the red cap with the trim nozzle. Make sure to switch to low pressure, which is down. Reset your stopwatch and go through the same process. So I hit that a little late, but I was at 1 minute and 20 seconds to get 64 ounces, or 80 seconds. Remember that number. Okay, so you'll need to measure a 25 by 40 foot area. the line you see at the top of the screen going from left to right is the 25 foot. And of course the 40 feet is going the other way. That gives you your 1,000 square feet. Now I want you to take your wide spray tip with a green cap and put your sprayer on high pressure. Stand about in the middle of the 25 feet. Hold the nozzle 16 inches off the ground and hold it for 10 or 12 seconds or so. I just want you to visualize your spray pattern. Then you're going to move over and do it again. And you want, from edge to edge, you want the liquid to match or to hit or to meet each other. And now you'll see me go over to the other side, and now you can see my 3 passes that I'm going to make on my 1,000 square feet. Now when we had our wide spray tip with the green cap, it took us 45 seconds to get 64 ounces. Now we're going to make 3 passes, so 45 divided by 3 is 15. So we need to train our body to walk 40 feet in 15 seconds. So I'm going to have my stopwatch in hand, back up a few feet, go ahead and start my spray. And when I see the liquid enter the calibration zone, I'm going to start my stopwatch. Now, I don't want you to time me in this video because I don't know how long it took me to watch. I'm simply going up. I simply made this part of the video just so you can have a visual on what it should look like. So you need to make sure that you're walking that 40 feet in 15 seconds. Don't pay any attention to how long it's taking me to do it because I'm not timing myself. So each time you make a pass, you're going to reset your stopwatch and start it when you enter the spray zone and stop it when you exit the spray zone. Now that is your liquid, not your body. When you see the liquid enter the calibration zone, start your stopwatch. And when you get to the end of your, or when your liquid gets to the end of the calibration, stop your stopwatch. So now I want you to change over to the trim tip. Be sure to go to low pressure on the sprayer. And we're going to do the exact same thing. You can see right here I'm having to adjust the nozzle a little bit so that I'm spraying left and right. I'm going to start in the middle, spray a pattern, move over 3 times. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So the only reason I'm doing this is to get a visual so I can kind of see what my pattern's doing. If my grid is 25 foot wide, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. 25 times 12 is 300 inches. If I'm spraying 40 to 42 inches wide with my trim tip, if I divide that by 300, I get 7.14. So that means I need to make 7 passes in my calibration zone. Now you see why I start in the middle with my first spray so that I can kind of see what I'm working with. And then I had 3 on either side of me. So if I got 3 on either side of me and 1 in the middle, that's 7. So if I filled up my 64 ounces in about 82 seconds, that means I need to divide 82 by the 7 passes that I'm going to make. I'll get 11.71. So this means I need to walk my 40 feet when I have the trim nozzle on low pressure in about 11 or 12 seconds. So let's go back to the wide tip nozzle for a minute. Remember, it took 15 seconds on high pressure to travel the 40 feet. Well, now we've dropped it back to low pressure with a different nozzle, and our time's a little different. So we're going to walk it in 11 to 12 seconds. So that means you're going to walk maybe 2 or 3 paces faster. So basically you're going to have to train yourself when you're using the wide spray tip. You're going to walk 15 seconds, 40 feet. when you're using the low pressure setting and the trim tip, you're going to walk that same 40 feet in 11 or 12 seconds. Again, please do not try and time me on this right here because I have no idea how fast I walked it. I simply went through the motions just to give you a visual on what it should look like. Now look, don't just do this one time and think you have it mastered. You need to do this 3, 4, 5, 6 times to really be able to get your pace down when you're using the wide nozzle and the trim nozzle. Now remember, one of the best ways to check yourself is put 64 ounces in your sprayer and walk your 3 passes, and from start to finish you should run out of liquid. And that's a surefire way to know that you're putting 64 ounces on 1,000 square feet. Now if you want to take your practicing to another level, of course pick you out 8,000 square foot a yard, and if you don't have 8,000 square feet, then take the square footage that you have. You want to put enough water in your tank to cover that square footage and practice spraying your yard with just water. Now once you get even more comfortable than that, get some Humic 12, put it in here with your water. You can run 6 or 9 ounces per 1,000. Figure out how much you need. Take that away from the 64 ounces, right? Let's just say, for example, you're going to run 6 ounces of Humic 12 per 1,000 square feet. Well, you need 58 ounces of water, and the 6 ounces of Humic 12, that equals the 64 ounces. Humic 12, it's something that you can't really overuse it. Yeah, of course, if you went out and sprayed it every other day, yeah, you're probably going to overuse it. Once every 2 or 3 weeks, once a month, not a big deal. It's a very, very good product to practice with 2 or 3 times so that now you're comfortable with an actual product in a tank that's in no way going to damage your yard. Now, you got to remember, it's a really dark product. All these Greene County products are dark in color, so be real careful around your driveways and your house and your fence and things like that. If you get something on it, rinse it off immediately. When you're mixing, make sure you always wear some good gloves. We just started carrying these chemical resistant nitrile flock line gloves. These are the exact ones that we wear, my guys wear when they're spraying yards and when they're mixing. And of course you need a good mixing jug. Don't forget, I think it's really cool. I got my logo on a mixing jug now, so get you one of those if you want. Now between this video and between that PDF download you got, I think I got everything covered. Now if I didn't cover everything, let me know. If you got any questions, you can email me at contact@gciturfacademy.com. Now if you have a question about your order, maybe you think you got the wrong nozzle assembly or whatever, your order got kind of boogered up, that email is admin@gciturfacademy.com. Now there's really no need to ever take the nozzle assembly apart. I clean mine a couple of times a year. So if you feel like you need to do that, or if you have to do it, it's real simple. You take the nozzle assembly off of the sprayer, you put the green cap in your right hand and the rest of the nozzle in your left, and you twist it counterclockwise, and it'll pop right off. Pay attention to the way it comes apart. There's a little rubber washer in there that comes out, and then the tip comes out. And to put it back together, you simply put the tip in, then the washer, insert it back onto the nozzle body, and then you want to twist it clockwise. And you have to kind of give it a little extra twist. You'll feel it lock into place. Some of you with smaller hands, or maybe your hands ain't quite as strong, you may want to hold the nozzle body with a pair of pliers. So hey, thank you again for buying my nozzle assembly. I appreciate it. I am still working on a patent on it, so I just ask that you not post any pictures of it anywhere, or that you not share this video or the guide that come with it. Those patents are quite expensive, so I'm working on getting that. As soon as I do, I'll let you know, and I don't care who you tell them. I hope you enjoy your nozzle assembly. It's going to last you a very long time. Matter of fact, it's probably the last one you'll ever buy. it should last you that long. I feel like the redesign of it and the way I kind of reconfigured some of the parts and using some different things here and there, I feel like it's pretty much bulletproof now. So hey, I hope you have a blessed day today. I appreciate you, and I'll check you later.